I'm genuinely so excited for this video. Welcome back to my channel. Hi, if you don't know me, my name is Emily. I make content for writers here on YouTube and also over on Instagram if you want to follow me over there for more short form content and more creative posts. But I'm very excited for today's video. I've honestly been wanting to do more fun videos for like writing instead of just writing vlogs. I love my writing vlogs, but I kind of want to put some more variety on my channel. And today we're doing a very exciting video, which is I am going to be reading your writer hot takes and unpopular opinions, whatever you want to call them. These are writer slash bookish because since that really goes hand in hand, I thought we would just kind of have a little bit of both. So without further ado, disclaimer before I say anything. Once again, I am going to say like my opinions on some of these. So just because like I agree with it doesn't mean you have to agree with it. If you don't agree with something and I agree with something, that's completely fine. We can all have different opinions and we can all live in harmony. So let's just remember that we all have different opinions and that is completely okay. All right, let's get to, I have my iPad down here. So if you see me like looking down, that's why I'm looking at all these different things. So we're going to start with this first one. Writers can be writers without ever publishing their work. You are a writer if you write words. I don't care. You're not a writer if you finish a book or if you whatever. You're a writer if you write. I completely agree with that. That's the definition of it. Even when people, I think you're an author once you finish a book. Like, you don't have to be published to be an author. Like, to be a published author, you have to be published. But to be an author, you just have to have written a book. So, and I think that also goes hand in hand with self-publishing can be just as good as traditionally published books. Yes, I completely agree with this one as well. I hate the stigma behind self-published authors being looked down upon because just because a book is self-published doesn't mean it's any better or any worse than a traditionally published book. It's just a different process. Next one, these two are kind of hand in hand. We have too much spice makes me not want to read a book, and smut does not belong in YA novels. I think I've actually never really talked about it on my channel yet or even on my Instagram, but I thought this would be a great time to bring it up. If you are a smut reader, that's completely fine, but my books are not going to be what you want. I'm going to make it so plain and simple. I don't write smut. I'm never going to write smut. It's not my thing. I don't read it. It's just not my thing. If you want to read it, I'm not judging you. Like, that's completely your thing. It's just, if you're looking for that in my books, you're in the wrong place. I actually there was a reel that kind of went like my best performing reel. I did have somebody comment under being like, oh, how much spice is in there? I didn't reply to it because I'm like, that's not what I do. But I do agree, smut does not belong in young adult books. Young adult is for ages 12 to 18, I'm pretty sure. Is that what 12 to 17 is what it's marketed as, and new adult is 18 to 25. I would say my writing is probably more new adult than young adult, just because of like certain themes. But I'm a wholehearted believer that smut does not belong in YA books, and I think it's weird that if a book is marketed towards like young teenagers and then there's explicit content in it, because that doesn't need to be there. I agree with that. I feel like I'm agreeing with all of this. You don't have to fit into tropes. I agree with that. You know what? I have a love-hate relationship with tropes. I think tropes are okay. Like, if it's just an easy way to get across what your book is about, I guess. But also, I hate taking literature and smushing it into a box like a trope. Like, yeah, my book is cyberpunk dystopian with hesitant allies to lovers, found family, and I don't know, another trope. And technically, yes, it is that, but my book is so much more than that. It feels like an injustice to just push it down into these two boxes of, oh, it's these two things. So love-hate relationship with that. Like I said, it's a good marketing aspect. It's a good way to get people interested in your book, but I also think that tropes do a lot of injustice to a lot of pieces of literature because there's so many books that are so much more than their tropes. You know what I'm saying? Oh, whoever sent this one in, literally thank you so much. I feel so strongly about this. I don't like love triangles. I hate love triangles. And I'm talking about what media has said love triangles are. Let me tell you, most love triangles in media is not even a love triangle. It's like a love fork. Like a love triangle, this is what a love triangle is supposed to be. Love triangles in media are usually like a love fork, like one character is choosing between two characters. But it's not a triangle because there's no attraction between the two like options of the main character, you know what I'm saying? But I'll put two things up to like show the difference because half of the I want like an actual love triangle where people are liking it's going actually in a triangle. Like person A has a crush on person B likes person C, but person C like person's A, if that makes sense. No, I just hate the way media has portrayed like, oh, this is a love triangle, but it's not. It's not. You're not doing it right. But if you love triangles, I don't mind. Like, it's just not something I'm a fan of. If love triangles are done right, maybe, but I do agree. Poetry does not necessarily have to have perfect meter or specific rules, just feel and write. I think this is a very nice opinion, but I kind of see it as a fact. But that's just my opinion. I love poetry because, right, poetry like doesn't have rules. Like you can just do whatever. And like, yeah, if you want to like a specific, like you want a haiku or something, but I just love poetry because it's so freeing and you just have so much freedom with it and you can basically do anything. Extreme plotting is actually fun because you grow closer to your characters and world. I would say, I don't know about extreme plotting. I did plot my entire book out, the one that I'm working on right now, and I did enjoy doing that, but also it was squeezing every last bit of life out of me because I just wanted to draft so badly. So I would say like I'm in the middle with that. Like I do understand, I guess I am a plotter. I hate saying it, but I am because I did enjoy it and I know it's going to be super beneficial to me. But I do see how you're able to like understand your characters more and you're like starting to write with them without actually whatever. You know, I actually got a few about music because I know people have different opinions on music. New classical music while writing, no text, just piano. And then there was one about writing with music is a no-go. Brown noise and ambience is superior. I think I'm neutral in this one, honestly. It depends what type of mood I'm in. Like, sometimes if I'm like really needing to focus, I'm only going to listen to like instrumental. But no, because that's not true. Because I wrote there's a scene in the second book of Project Eclipse, my duology that I'm working on in the second book, where I listened to Skyfall by Adele on repeat. So honestly, I disagree and agree because it depends what mood I'm in, what type of scene I'm writing. If I'm having a hard time focusing, I cannot have songs that have words in them, or else I'll start writing the lyrics. So I guess I'm neutral on that one. Breaking some grammar rules intentionally can help bring characters' POV to life. You know, that is actually true. Like I don't know about I wouldn't say grammar rules completely, or that's not the word I'm looking for. I don't know about grammar rules, but I think writing styles. You know what I hate? I hate that M dashes are seen, like people see M dashes and they're automatically like, oh, this is AI generated. I love M dashes, guys. Like, I'm going to be an M dash warrior until the day I die. I'm just gonna let you know. Like, I know people are gonna say I was writing with AI, but that's just something I'm gonna have to deal with because I love my M dashes. I love over explaining. I love adding thoughts to my thoughts. It's just who I am. Next, we have it's okay if you don't write every day. Guys, it is okay if you do not write every day. That is something I've had to learn. And I literally, today was like you're gonna see me in a writing vlog. This is the same day as the first day in my recent writing vlog. I didn't write for like a week and a half because I just didn't want to, and that was just because I was lazy. And you don't have to write every day. It's gonna be okay. If you're like me, you're gonna go through phases of where you do write every day, and then you go like a week and a half without writing at all, and then you'll lock back in for a couple of days, and it'll just come in phases. Talking to yourself as different characters comes a long way. I agree with this, and I do this. And there's a vlog that put I put a clip of me talking to myself and where I look crazy. But honestly, sitting alone in your room and talking out loud to yourself is so helpful. Like, I know it does sound crazy, but if you just sit down and just try to talk through your book, especially if you're dealing with a plot hole, talk through your book if you don't have someone to talk to, even by yourself, because then you won't feel as stupid. Talking from experience. Um, well, you still feel stupid, but just like when I'm talking to somebody else, I have to like filter what I'm saying. But if you're talking to yourself, then you don't have to filter anything. And it really does help. So I do agree with that, very much so. Casting actors as your characters is weird. I do get inspo from people who capture the vibe though. You know, if you're talking about like people that post like pictures of actors, honestly, I would say I disagree. If I'm understanding what you're saying, like people that will say like, "Oh, my dream cast for my book," or stuff like that. I don't think that's weird. But if you're talking about people that make like mood boards with a bunch of celebrities for their characters, I don't know exactly what you mean, so I don't think I can disagree or agree, but I think I don't really know. We're going to leave that one up in the air for now. Writing by hand actually makes you write more. No joke, I was a diehard typer, but I have converted. I'm so happy for you, but I'm going to have to disagree because that would never be me. I do. Okay. Well, okay. If you don't know, I have notebooks for each of my projects. I love my little notebooks. And I do write in there, but I don't actually draft. I just more of write ideas. And I do get more, I was about to say more better. Goodness. I get better ideas and more authentic ideas when I'm writing by hand because I don't know, I feel more authentic when I write by hand. But I wouldn't say that I write more. If you've converted from a typer to writing by hand, I'm so happy for you. I don't think I could ever do that. That's amazing though for you. Goodness. Next we have inner monologue over dialogue because dialogue is way too hard. I agree with you. I love inner monologues, especially I know some people prefer like first person over third person or third person over first person. I honestly like both. I like switching between books that have different POVs because I feel like it just gives a different vibe. I love first person POVs where the main character is very unique. This summer I read Percy Jackson for the first time, and I just love his Percy's like monologue, and that's probably why he's so popular and why some people love him because he's just so quirky and distinctive that you just know that he's the POV. And I just really, really loved it. You cannot write a good book fast. I disagree and agree. I understand what you're saying, like you can't rush good art, and I do agree with that. But if it's a thing where you've just like if it's a thing where you just get an idea and you try to write it all down, I understand that. But if it's an idea you've had for a while and you've let it marinate in your head and you have a lot of ideas and you just feel like you need to word vomit to get it all out, I think that can be a really good book if it's like been in your head for a while. But I understand what you're saying, and I do agree to a certain extent. Unpopular opinion, but fictional men with stalker tendencies are actually a green flag. Absolutely no hate to this person, but I don't agree. Maybe it's just me. We all have our different opinions, and that's fine. We all read what we want to read, just putting that out there because I know people can get offended easily. Not a green flag for me. Like, I love yearning men. Mr. Darcy. Mr. Darcy is the blueprint of the kind of man that I love. And stalking is just not that. Some people like that. It's fine. Just, I would have to disagree personally. Okay, I actually got a DM of somebody that gave me a really detailed one, so thank you for this. My hot take is that pregnancy tropes can be done and be good for the plot, but most authors don't actually know how and add it to try to add an external problem to the story to keep things going as like a subplot type thing. So, like, they do it just because they need a plot for the story to keep going when it's not needed. Another one is that miscommunication, third act breakups aren't needed but are realistic. Pregnancy, look, I hate pregnancy tropes. Maybe it's because I do read more in like YA and you're not really going to see pregnancy tropes in YA. But even, I don't know, I'm not a pregnancy trope. Also, like I said, I don't really like tropes. But I do agree with this. Like, I think there are a lot of tropes. I'm just going to say tropes because it's an easy word. But that people just don't know how to do well. And I do understand what this person is saying, and I do agree because there are certain times where I think in certain books it would be appropriate, but it's just not done well. And that's why people are like, oh, I hate the pregnancy trope, usually because it's poorly written. And this miscommunication one, I'm also one that usually hates miscommunication because most of the time it doesn't make sense. And you're just like, well, if you had just talked in this scene, or if you had just done this, then this wouldn't have happened. You guys are stupid. Here is going to be our last one for today. Writing in order is kind of tricky, and I want to write my story out of order in a way that's engaging. You know, I do agree with this because even though I usually draft in order, well, sometimes I'll write random scenes here and there if I need to get it out of my head. Because if you have a scene in your head, I don't think you should push it off until you get there. Like, you should just go ahead and like get it out, and then you can come back to it. Because then you won't lose then you won't lose any of your original thoughts. But writing in order is tricky, I think, for some people more than others. Like I said, I usually do write mostly in order, but I can understand for some people how it would be easier to write like the middle and then go back to the beginning. Because if you know the middle of your book, it's easier to know the beginning because then you can kind of foreshadow easier and stuff and kind of like add things. That's kind of what I did when I outlined my book. I kind of went back and forth between Act 2 and Act 1 so that I could add things in Act 1 that would line up with things in Act 2 so that things would seem more cohesive. Anyways, thank you for anyone who submitted their hot takes, opinions. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate, and I love doing videos that involve you guys. I'm hoping to be more consistent on here, guys. I know it's been kind of sporadic and stuff, but I really do enjoy YouTube. So, thank you so much for being here. And if you made it till the end, I want you to drop this pink flower emoji. I love this little emoji. And once again, if we disagreed on any of this, or if maybe I offended you, I'm so sorry, but we all can have different opinions and we can also live in harmony. So thank you so much for staying, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!